Hi there. So I'm Lou Martin, and I have a YouTube channel called Awakened Spirits Network, and that's all the introduction I need for myself. And we are blessed, and I am on pins and needles to chat with my friend Seanin here. I saw her do a great interview with our brother Joseph Delaney yesterday, and Seanin is going to bring the medicine today here for me and for Ireland and for all of us. So, with that, Seanin, welcome, my friend. How are you?
I'm really good. I told you already, I've been like all day really teary because like the second you asked to speak to me yesterday, I started getting loads of information with regards to what's happening now, specifically for Ireland. And because it's so important to me, it was like, oh, this is a lot. So I've voiced, like, for people listening, I voice noted Lou beforehand. If I cry, it's not my fault because it's just the information's coming in big, thick swathes at the minute, and it's
Yes.
beautiful. It's so beautiful, but I think that's the reason why it affects me so much. You know,
Yes.
um,
Bless you.
yeah, it really does. Like, obviously, yesterday with Joe, we were talking about planetary shift, global shift. What's going to happen? What is happening currently with the current energetics, the way that the world is changing, about capitalism, the political systems, and the church falling. And last night and today, everything has been about the church, particularly the Catholic one in Ireland. And because it's so close to my heart, it's one that I can't speak about without getting a little bit emotional. So you're going to have to forgive me for that.
That's fine. That's fine.
Because I got shown, like, I've known this for a long time, given the dynamics of Ireland. They've been told there's a cosmic reordering, right? And about the sacral and the heart of the Irish people and how that's
Okay.
been, to a degree, there are words I'm going to say that are probably triggering, but the point is to bring it up so it's seen. So it's the idea of the hijack of the sacral and the heart. And how that's occurred is through the programming or the spells cast by religion.
Yeah.
These spells are directly in alignment with the distortion of the sacred sexuality or the creative centers of the Irish people. When we are divorced from that essence within us, we lose our intuition, and
Yes.
it also distorts the expression of the feminine and the masculine,
Yes.
whereby women have for a long time through the church been shamed and made numb by the teachings, where
Yeah.
they've been told or it's been expressed to them that they are less than for their fire, their sensuality, their passion, that this is something to be ashamed of or afraid of. And it's something
Right.
that's traveled through the education system and also through how we've spoken to each other, and consequently women turning on each other as well. So that
Wow.
separation due to judgment. Now,
Yeah.
at its most extreme, it creates a distortion of high masculinity and the feminine, right? And consequently, an abusive or angry demeanor, right?
Right.
In the
Right.
masculine, there has been a feminization caused by the church, right? Due to passivity and fear of expressing their masculinity, and fear again of their sexuality, which is
Sure.
fear of their sacred soul self, because it's the same energy,
Right.
right?
Right.
And as
Yeah.
that energy moves through us in consciousness, when we awaken, it becomes blocked when there is shame and fear laid on top of it. And because
Yeah.
everything is about body dynamics, what is happening on Ireland at the moment, and this is where I'm going to get emotional, right? And for those who have connections to
Okay.
Ireland, live on Ireland, have Irish lineage, are going to be feeling this the most deeply, especially now. The intuition is coming back online, but because of having been divorced from that, there's an assumption that an external God is the truth and our feelings are wrong. Now, over the next number of months, there are going to be a considerable amount of Irish people becoming aware of that voice within themselves, their feelings, their essential nature, their passion, their creativity, all those beautiful gifts that the Irish have. They're just so gorgeous, right? They're gorgeous,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
All of that being divorced from them is in fact God moving within them. Those gifts are
Yeah.
God given. the essence, their sacred sensuality, their spirituality, their consciousness, it all comes from their feeling state inside. As
Sure.
a result, there will be, from what I've seen, a mass amount of marriage breakdowns. But this is
Yeah.
divinely aligned and a cosmic reordering for what's going to happen first in Ireland before anywhere else, which is the partnerships, divine partnerships, soul realignments with other parts of other souls. Now, from what I've been shown, the women are experiencing this first internally, and it's very difficult for them because they're then having to kind of contend with the prejudices that have been placed on women, who are the ones that break the family unit. And it's the opposite story to the patriarchy. So it's like, well, I'm denying my womanhood if I don't protect the family and if I don't play the role that I've been given. But the role of mother, the role of partner should be an honourable one. And what makes family is love. And what the Irish people have been divorced from is love in essence and its highest expression, because of these judgments and these seals that have been placed around the sacral and the heart due to the spell created by the occult church. Now,
Wow.
the women will have these feelings rise up first, from what I've heard internally, and it's about releasing self-judgment. Equally, those who have been heavily distorted, right, by the more masculinized aspect of themselves will be becoming very angry, very aggressive at the moment.
Right.
And that's difficult in partnerships. I want to say to everyone that it's nobody's fault, right? Like, it's really important that we're seeing these paradigms for what they are in a neutral state. It's simply what has been done to us, which was not our fault, being removed.
Right.
And now for the men.
Bless you.
There has been so much distorted narrative about men globally. There has been an enormous attempt to divorce women from men and men from women. And especially to divorce men from their true nature in balance. The awakened men are in balance in the masculine and the feminine. Those that have been oppressed, been victims of abuse, domestic abuse, and we all know this about Ireland, when this stuff happens, it's kept in secret, right? It's not talked about. Have these parts of themselves in suppression. Right. But there is a gentleness, an essence of freedom and creativity within them that has been kept on lock. And a beautiful, right. I keep getting shown the sacred heart of Ireland lives in the Irish men.
Wow.
Right, that's what I was shown.
Right.
And these men are a continuation of the Magdalene lineage, because they are going to be the first to bring forward sacred sexuality on the earth. And it starts with Ireland first. What I've been shown is that Ireland's been so maligned by the teachings, the history, 26, I don't know how many years, 26,000 years, whatever that means, right? Of various different things going on to create confusion, but it's all one and the same energy that's caused that. A darkness that has created political confusion, that's created spiritual confusion, that's created segregation and separation in families, etc., etc. But it's the men who will bring forward codes of balance and harmony and devotion to correct the patterns of patriarchy and to heal both the women and the men on the planet. But it's starting with Ireland first, and it begins with the Irish people listening to their intuition and listening to their inner self and recognizing that as God self, as consciousness within them, and not something divorced from them, not something to be ashamed of, most especially, and this is the big one, who they love and how they love. And that includes as well the LGBTQ people, right?
Right.
There is nothing wrong with any of you. And there never has been.
Sure.
And what's been shown is this mass shift internally, so we can come to harmony with the higher octaves of dimensional frequency that is available on Ireland currently. Ireland is one of the highest lights on this planet, and lifting in Ireland is way easier, right? Or lifting for the Irish is way easier than it is for others currently, because of where they herald from but that's a gift handed down, a form of the divine intervention that I spoke about, because of how much oppression there has been on that country and on my people.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah.
The experience of this, I got shown this morning that there are some choices that everyone will be offered. Okay. Many to come away from relationships that they made in a state of suppression. While the Kundalini awakens, they become awakened to their sacred heart and to their sacral energy and realize that that is the divine moving through them, and they can honor it. And there is nothing wrong with that love. And there never has been. And then also in another way, I got shown that there will be, because the Irish, they're an intelligent people, like, and they love a chat, but they need to check things first before they believe them. This is what I got told, Lou, right? And I was told, if it were the case that any were to come into an opportunity, like with this conversation, and we don't have to believe me, because who am I, right? If you were to make the choice as one who is still connected to religion in Ireland currently, just not to go to Mass on the next day that you're supposed to go, there would be a frequency shift so enormous, a change so enormous, that would demonstrate the spell that has been broken and removed from that country.
Wow.
So yeah, offered as an option for the people to feel for themselves, which they're wanting to do and have every right to do, right?
Yes.
But that's what I got shown, that there is something happening in that country and with the people that is so huge with regards to personal choice. What I've seen is that over the next number of months as well, and this will happen quickly, is that there are many coming into union with either twin flame or divine counterpart, right? And it may be out of alignment with where they are or who they're with currently. And that experience, and I was shown a lot of women, right, will be watching this and going, how did you know that, right? Because a lot of them going through that at the minute and not being honest about it. Okay. Because Ireland will be a demonstration of what is going to happen globally for all of us. There is so much fallen away that our partnerships, so the teachings of sacred sexuality and the unions can come about. It's going to happen there first. But it's about being true to ourselves and listening to that truth. And there is nothing wrong with any of us. And there never was.
Sure. Wow.
The idea of original sin with the children, it's not true. Right. The idea of temptation and sin, not true. Right. We are not in a place now where we can shame our essential essence, because inside we are all being transformed. And what's pushing up to be acknowledged is divine in all of us.
Right.
I'm going to stop there. That's what's been going on.
Well, that's just incredibly powerful and really beautiful, and it deeply resonates in my heart. So I'm American Irish, and I've been here. It'll be 18 years in March. And I think there's tremendous wisdom and love and deep catalytic and transformative truth in what you're saying, my friend. And who are you? You're someone that really knows the truth when you feel it come through you, and you're a clear and open channel for the Almighty, as far as I'm concerned, which is why I respect you enormously, and I'm so grateful for your wisdom and your clarity and your vulnerability and honesty. And this is what the world needs to hear, is that it's time to wake up from these self-doubts that we've all taken on from the church and the culture and the governments, and shake ourselves loose and be free again. It's more than time. And I agree with you about Ireland, absolutely. To me, I'm quite proud of my ancestry, and I love the Irish. I love this country. That's why I'm here. It's been an exploration of, who am I and where did I come from and what am I really about and what are my ancestors about? Yes. And all of that. And to me, the word for Ireland is passion, extraordinary passion,
And that's beautiful. It's beautiful and necessary. like part of it all, and it gets so misconstrued, Lou. Like my passion, everybody thinks I'm being angry. I have an angry bone in my body. I am constantly excited. I am
Right?
constantly excited, right? And people are always presuming that this is an angry thing with me. It's not. It's very
No.
much part of my nature.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I don't feel any anger about that. Yeah.
good, good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, it's the revelation of, look, this is what's true, and you've fallen asleep. It's time to wake up.
It's
Yeah,
been a
babe.
it's been a long time, I think, for a lot of us. I really struggled to get a lot of this out. Stuff like this has been coming in for months and months, and it's been really difficult for me. Like I do struggle to speak up because of this constant sense of being misconstrued. But having gone through as much as I've gone through now, I understand that the passion is part of it. That's part of my healing as a woman. Like when I grew up, I went through all of that shame, blame, guilt, fear, distortion, and persecution as a young girl, because I was very, very open, very pure, very passionate, very free, very artistic. And I attracted a lot of negativity, and I mean a lot of all kinds. And I believe there's a design behind that. And I think there's some elements of like nefarious goings on that caused it, which I'm not angry about anymore because it's all coming away now. But I feel like there are lines of women in that country who are similar to myself who have been told the same thing or been treated in the same way and have consequently shut themselves off to that passion, and therefore lose a sense of their intuition, their capabilities, their healing potential, their psychic awareness, the truth that moves through them, because of this fear that's been implanted that to be all of what you are is wrong. Like we look at the Virgin Mary and how the Virgin Mary was used in the church, a silent figure, martyred. And Mother Mary in essence is not that's not the frequency I get from Mother Mary, but that's the symbolism that was given to us as children and particularly as teenage girls. That sterilization of what it is to be feminine has caused a lot of confusion for all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, this is men in their fear trying to control women in their power, and, as you said, I mean, you used the term a Magdalene man before we got on. I thought, wow, I've not heard that before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I know, but they exist, right? And, the reality is, I think a lot of the times when we see a man acting out, it's coming from another place where he is being hurt. There's a gentleness inside of all men, especially the Irish, passionate, wild, romantic, creative, highly intuitive, right? But due to that, the not being given the love for that part of themselves, for having that shut off or denied or mocked or judged, they then have been through similar abusive situations or circumstances, and therefore they propagate that patterning, but it's not the truth of who they are either. And that's the teachings that are coming through sacred sexuality from Ireland are brand new as well. They're not any of the old ones, because the old ones have all been distorted. It's all right. There's something that's shifting exponentially that'll come in, and certain people will have certain keys, but you have to choose the awakening process in that pathway, and you have to free yourself from the old in order for that stuff to come through. You are one, Lou. Joe was one. My daddy's one, but he doesn't know it, right? And you can tell there's just this energy with a certain man, a certain type. We can take it back to galactics and other forms of energetic signature if we like, but these keys and codes will come in, and I saw this massive pile of people just getting paired off, like one after the other, so this stuff can come through. But it's the men first and then the women, and it's Ireland. Ireland is the heart chakra of the universe now, and the universe specifically, right? Like, it used to be considered Glastonbury. Something's happened there, nothing I understand, load of weird symbolism that came through that I don't get, right? But Ireland is the place for it, and it's going to happen at accelerated speed in Ireland so that it can go around the world and be seen and acknowledged from there. I think a lot of it comes down to how down to earth the people are though too. Like there's a lot of sarcasm and self-deprecation and playing down the power of what they have inside of themselves. And as the awakening happens, that starts to level off a bit. We're not coming from that place of sort of distorted humility anymore, or self-humiliation, shall we say, right? There's a real need for the Irish to kind of step up and go, and say it in their own normal voices. I know about this, right? The same way I'm doing, right? And it's cringe for me. Like I find it really hard to come out here and like share this stuff. I find it really difficult because I still have a bit of that going on. I worry about the fact that, coming from Ireland, going, oh, by the way, God told me this, right? But it's what's happening right now, and I think it's something we need to embrace.
Yes, honey. Oh, 100%, Seanin. I mean, sweetheart, this is, you are helping to create that space, and I'm wanting to do it as well. And this is what I'm all about, is what is the truth? Because I know the truth when I feel it. And, I've come to realize that's actually one of my most important skills. Like I can hear bullshit and I can hear preaching and planning and, seducing and manipulating. Go, no. Then when I hear the truth, I go, wow, there it is. And you are speaking it, from your heart. And, the human and the divine, are meant to work together, just like the man and the woman are meant to work together. And the word that I want to bring in here is respect. We respect ourselves. We respect each other. We respect all the initiations that we've had to survive up until this moment to understand what we understand and to be able to speak about any of this with any sense of humor and authority and humility and, willingness to be wrong about all of it. But it's like, this is what I hear. So, you're blowing your horn very nicely, my friend. It's music to my ear.
Thanks. What brought you over here, Lou? Why did you
as I said,
go to Ireland?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I originally came with my partner at the time. We came from Vienna, and it worked for me. It didn't work for her, was the short version. And then I was channeling, I did about 5 years of classes in Cork City and West Cork, driving around, and, did like 3 classes a week and 1 workshop a month for like 5 years, so it was just, fantastic. And then my car was not an option anymore, and I just was doing it online. And, like yourself, there's a divine timing in everything that's happening in my life over the last few years. And I am absolutely, beyond a doubt, we're just going down the other side of the roller coaster now. We are heading into the storm. We are heading into the battle. We are heading into the new land and the new time. And so, I've followed you for years, and Joe and I have chatted on one occasion, and all the people that I want in my tribe and my team, I'm like going, okay, let's do it. It's time.
I noticed this with the channeled messages that you put out over the last number of months. I was going through a thing, and everything that you put out was, and then even in the moment that you put it out, was exact for what was happening. And it's amazing to see that collective mind, like that collective God mind, so active. Like, and it's baffling to me. It's nice to finally be included too. It took me a bit, right? But it feels powerful right now and very close to all of us. I feel like there's so much that can be seen now by everyone though. It's all mainstream. It's happening so quickly. The signs are appearing everywhere. God's speaking through everybody. And I will always say God. I know it bothers some people because I also got shown this, that in order to stay in a state of consciousness that's required to receive confidently, like, yes, God within is how we awaken. It's inside the body. We need to have awareness of the Creator as well. Like, there's some element of respect for the Creator and respect for our reflection of that. Yeah. That allows for messages to come in more clearly. What did I get told was like, you're trusted because you're humble. And I went, all right then, right? And that's kind of the way it works. It's like, if you're if you're able to see and recognize that and have honor for it and stay open, then you will always receive what you're meant to. The problem with religion was divorcing ourselves from the potential for that internally, and it's so heartbreaking because when that goes, we lose ourselves when we don't feel for that within ourselves. Like there's so much come up around the sacral at the moment and the heart, but especially for Ireland right now. And the sacral is about creativity, ideas, putting things into place, creating from a place of our true self. Today is a big day for that removing. Then the heart and the sacral, they have to work in tandem. Like the heart has to be open for the sacral to create in a way that's designed right now. And anything that doesn't have the heart within it is not working. Like it won't work. It sounds just very simple.
No, it's very well. It sounds brilliant. It's music to my ears, my friend. Absolutely. You know that physically in the womb, the heart is the first thing that's created for the child, and then the rest of the body is then built around the heart. Yeah. It's it's everywhere if you start looking for it and you're open to it, as you said. And Seanin Ann, it has to be. My official job title is God's Holy Fool.
Yeah.
It's like I know absolutely nothing. Thank you. I will pretend to know absolutely nothing, except maybe have a few ideas of what might be true. And the more attached I am, the less confident I become. So just swimming in the waters here with you, and trusting the moments and trusting these energies. I mean, just to build on what you're saying here, both, with Ireland and of course, being American, I see a lot of the same themes, exploding in America between dishonesty and truth, and people finding their voices and, taking their sovereignty back. It's the same here. I know it's the same in the UK. There's all this divide and conquer racism and sexism, that keep people, unsure of what they need and what they believe. And, but when you find that willingness, like, we're all being played here, everybody, we're all being taken for fools in the worst sense of the word. And all we need to do is find and speak our truth to each other with love and respect. And people will begin to wake up from the spell. And you're doing a great job of that, my friend.
And it's supposed to be good crack. Like, there's a lot of fear-based stuff right now. The focus is off any of the negative that's going on. I am just not paying attention. It has been very, very clear to me not to pay attention to that. Equally, this mindset of looking at things with the intention to find flaw, right? There's some sort of shift now where the human, right, the human of us is working divinely and in alignment, right?
Sure.
At every moment. And it's really important that we take our own blinkers off and pay attention a little more to all human beings around us, because this awakening is happening sort of the different way now. Whereas before it was like you'd wake up and you'd turn into some sort of demigod and wear white for 10 years. Like, it's not working like that anymore, right? It's like humans are acting like humans with full consciousness active. And that's going to trigger a lot of people, but I don't really care. Like, likewise. I'm in a place right now where I'm like, that's yours. You need to sort that out for yourself.
Right.
And it's a long time coming. It's about equalizing. Like, we've had so much of this hierarchical order of, I am more awake than this person, therefore it is my job to teach them. No, right? Every single person in my reality is my teacher. Every single situation in my life is teaching me. Everything that I am shown is an example of love or self-love. Right. And that's been big it's been big for me. So I'm going to assume for all of us, like, honoring our own path, honoring our own authentic voice and our own authentic expression is incredibly important. And any way that we have distorted ourselves to fit a narrative for spirituality, it's not working anymore for a reason, right? Like, there's going to be this big swathe of, like, I'll say it the way people make sense, ordinary people showing up and being like, so this thing happened, and it'll
Yeah.
be something massive, right? And then another ordinary person, right? So this happened, and it'll be something massive, and we need to get over the idea that we have to show up a certain way,
Yeah.
like, because
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
not the truth.
Yeah. You know, the Quakers would sit around in a circle, right? And they'd
Yeah.
wait for spirit to speak through them. And they'd be
Yeah.
quiet until, you know, something happened. And, you know, I've been to Mass a few times. My housemate plays the organ there. And that was my excuse to go listen to him and support him a few times here since Christmas, since I moved in. And, you know, I grew up with that, you know, but I haven't been for, you know, 10 years, 15 years, something like that, you know, but a handful of times. Um, yeah, and I respect what it is, which is it's something, and most people feel they have nothing else to hold on to, and I got to have compassion and respect for that, and it's a deep part of the culture here, as you said, and like you, I'm going, okay, guys, you know, it's getting on time now, you know, let's pick it up a little bit, shall we? Let's look outside the barnyard here once in a while, you know.
I understand that connection because it's for community and devotion.
Yes,
Like
sure.
the Irish people, the most devotional people that exist, right? Whether it's the whiskey, a certain music genre, right, or
There's
like
a
a
lot of
friendship
devotion
group,
here.
deeply
Yes.
devotional people. So the church, of
Yes.
course, is beautiful in so many ways, but we've
Yes.
got to look at the undercurrent behind what we are signing up for, right?
Yes.
And that needs to be brought to consciousness because it
Yeah.
affects our lineage generationally. Anything
Yeah.
we don't acknowledge has affected us internally will then via the DNA transfer into the children. Like, and
Sure.
that's why these choice points we're being given right now are so vital. And all I said
Yes.
there was, don't go to Mass one day. Right? Like, you know what I mean? That's what it was. Don't go to Mass one day
totally.
and see
You know,
energetically what happens. Because apparently Ireland is so hot right now. There's so much, it is such a high frequency right now that the tiniest of choices, like it's even bigger than anywhere else on the planet, are just making it go woof, right? It's right up. You'll get shown things. And it's
I
not
think,
for everyone to choose, and that's okay. But it is
yeah,
part of the transformation that's happening now. And I would be
yeah,
remiss of me not to honor that and say it.
sure, hon, sure. I mean, I feel it's the same for America, honestly. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, it's what those two countries and cultures, to my mind, have in common, which is, you know, for all the human flaws and all the, you know, fighting against each other and all of the hierarchy, they still were born out of a sense of principles and idealism about human worth, about every man, woman, and child has intrinsic and inherent value, and that is sacred. That must be honored. Those are our inalienable rights. And God gave those to us, and no state, no man can take those from us, which God gave to us. So absolutely, this is where I'm on my soapbox now, you see. This is where we have to find our voices, as we're doing here and helping each other to do, and say, you know, I don't know everything, but I know that much. This much I know, you know.
Yeah, exactly, Lou. Like, there was no mistake in creation of humankind. There has been no mistake. Like,
Oh, of
and
course.
there has been a lot of lying about what makes a man and what makes a woman, right? There's been a lot of confusion, distortion, and depletion of our energy fields and
Yeah.
of our ideas, our creativity, trying to fit these ideals and models and play these certain roles. And it has to come to an end now because it's
Right.
hurting people.
Yes.
It's hurting people.
Yeah,
Like,
darling. It's centuries of tragedies, you know.
yeah, like, and
Yeah.
I've had so much. I've always had such an affinity for the LGBTQ community, like because I myself, I'm not straight, and
Right.
it was always a difficulty for me in Ireland to identify that way because of the judgment that came against me. There's some
Yeah.
assumption that it was a perversion, but the reality is that the way that I love is in singularity, and it's devotional and romantic. You know, like, and it would be very singular in that way. It's very pure, and it's part of my makeup, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with me.
Right.
Like,
right.
and there was never anything wrong with me. Like,
Yes, sweetheart.
and I feel like the way that the world is right now, I think there's a lot of prejudices that we've all held, right, that are being addressed. But the worst ones are the ones we hold against ourselves, because right now we're all being offered a curriculum. We're all being offered a divine inheritance and a new reality, all of us. And it's those
Yes.
prejudices against ourselves that are holding us back from stepping into those places. And we all
Sure.
have free will, and I can have respect for everyone's choice. But it's so important that self-love is paramount. And part of that is kind of seeing where people have told us that we're less, or made us feel that we are not good enough, so then we can't actualize what we really want. We should be allowed to love how we love, and love who we love, and love who we are. And
Yes.
the church has played such a role in disrupting that for all of us, and I am so sick of it. Like, I'm not going to pretend it doesn't make me mad, because it does, like, and it has done for a long time. And I'm not an angry person, but all my life the situation with the church has always upset me, because of having seen what it did to women and girls and mothers. The mothers have had a great fear of their daughters, and their daughters' sensuality and their personal power. The wild daughters is what I heard this morning, right? The wild daughters were often kept in a state of fear by their mothers. And then because of that state of fear and the way they were treated, they then repeat that pattern with their daughters. And then there would be another repeat of that pattern with their daughters, right? And it goes on and on and on like that, where the mother's love is divorced from the daughter because she's afraid of seeing herself within her, and she cannot recognize her perfection because of all we've been taught about what a woman should be in Ireland, and it's supplicant, submissive, in servitude. And the grand irony is, when you see a woman who has followed that path for so long, she becomes resentful and angry, because she's then divorced from the parts of herself that make her happiest. And then that resentment and anger where does that get put? On the partner, on the man, right? So he becomes submissive. There's like this weird cycle that has occurred of trauma caused by Catholic Church ideas, and they have been pervasive. And it's the children I think about now. It's the children I think about now. It's like my son, he's going to Catholic school in September, and he's only 4, and I'm happy with that, because in the junior teaching, it's lovely. He's not part of a Catholic church.
You just said that. That surprises me. I just have to interrupt you. That shocks me.
I'll explain why.
I just want to make that point.
It's not when they are young. There's a focus on the fable, the myth, and love. And the passage is, love is at the center of everything we do. So I don't mind him going to that in his earlier years. It's when he becomes a teenager that the problems start.
Okay.
Because that's when the teaching becomes the most distorted. He's not raised Catholic, and he'll never take that on. But in terms of how they treat each other in that state as children, I'm comfortable with that. But as they become teenagers, the teaching, and there is a distorted sort of assumption that what happens naturally for a teenager, a female and a male, as they grow up in that age range, is in fact sinful. Like, what they're taught about sex, what they're taught about themselves, is all wrong, and they're made to feel bad about who they are. And once that happens at that tiny age, it creates problems with attachment. It creates problems with self-ownership, and it also creates problems with being able to feel and receive love. And when you get them at that age, it takes forever to then sort of undo all that programming. It feeds into all relationships afterwards. And with marriage as well, in the Catholic faith, there's the assumption that there should never be divorce, there should never be breakup, right? How is marriage created in a state of suppression, one of love?
Oh, it's not. It's one of fear.
Yes.
Yeah, and compromise and control.
Yes. And then we wonder why so many of us have been through that experience and gotten sick or sad, who have been through abusive circumstances. And then there's not that honoring of those experiences. Like, we're not allowed to talk about those things. Ireland has been sick because of her secrets for so long.
Sure. Yes, I quite agree. It's shocking and staggering. I agree.
Yeah. And it's, if we do not bring to consciousness those things, they don't change. Like,
Yeah.
it
Well,
is
that's
imperative. It's imperative that we honor ourselves now, because
yes,
this
darling.
awakening process, it busts your whole body open, and it's happening everywhere to everybody. And I'm seeing it in my immediate life, where people are changing at rapid rates, and depending
Yeah.
on whether they choose unconsciousness and to project harm, or whether they're choosing love, they're experiencing in volatility those things that were placed there in our youth by the church. And
Yeah.
it's a lesson for all of us to see and understand, and that we can choose another way, because none of
Yeah.
it is our fault. The Irish
Oh, yeah.
people are so bloody beautiful, like, and I know you know that because you live there, like,
Yeah.
wild, spontaneous, romantic, free-spirited, beautiful singers, writers. Like, you look at, like, Oscar Wilde and Sinead O'Connor, what happened to both of them, like, prime
I was thinking,
examples
yeah. Yeah.
of that maligned force and what it
Sure.
did to them. But
Sure.
that's the same pattern exists in all of us that was in both of those two. And I swear those two were angels, because they were supposed
Yeah.
to come down and be example of what
Yeah.
was wrong. We
Well,
haven't been given these gifts, the gab, right? And the creativity and the ability to connect and the sense of
yeah.
humor to play ourselves down or be less anymore. It's
Oh,
not the
yeah.
time. It's not the
No.
time.
No, I mean, I have a song called "Warrior of Love,"
Yeah.
and that's the Irish and that's the Americans and that's everyone, because like you're saying, Seanin, all this judgment,
Yeah.
and insecurity and inadequacy and shame and I don't think there's a country in the world, hun, that has changed more in such a short period of time as Ireland. It's certainly right up there. I mean, there are people, taking the horse and the cart in their bare feet to the market and to the school, 100 years ago here. And, that was the story in America. And now, it's the wealthiest and most powerful country in the EU in many ways. But yeah, it's America and Ireland play this pivotal role of consciousness, to my mind. And see, my blessing was I was born in Chicago, grew up on the East Coast in New Jersey, New York, and then came to Los Angeles for 30 years. So we had none of this guilt, shame, blame game to the degree that is, what you just touched on here in Europe, in the UK, in Ireland, in the North, in the South, all of that. So like I look at all that and I go, wow, that's incredible. Where does that come from? So, I mean, I'm with you, my friend. I want to be on the front lines of saying, it's time for a change, my friends. It's time to feel good about yourself and trust yourself and not need an intermediary or an authority figure outside of you to tell you what is important and what you believe and to follow your heart, set yourself free. So yeah, go on.
Don't want to interrupt you, Lou. I think there's a wee
No,
bit of a lag, so I keep doing it.
We could go on all day, sweetheart. You're absolutely fine. Carry on.
It kind of annoys me, right? This idea of like passive indifference to humanity right now. Like,
Yeah,
I don't divorce myself from humanity. I am humanity.
absolutely.
And what's happening right now kind of does call for a bridge to be created, and that's one of the messages I got a couple of weeks ago. This idea of a changing of the guard, whereby those that have been in, like those that have been practicing like quietly, gently, but in amongst the people, having a divine inheritance to come in, right? And it's not about the divine bloody inheritance. It's not about the karma or anything like that. Like, it's not about that. But it's sort of an incentive for, right, you can come out now and be a bit louder, like you've done your time hiding humbly, right? Because there's been too much in spiritual circles of this passive, right, state of no love in action, and thinking, right, everybody's going to just handle it. Where do you think the divine intervention is coming from? Like, who's going to bring that down? Like, it's not just going to be from above. It's not all on that. We are that. We are that divine intervention. If we have done all of the work on our consciousness, and we will sit in apathy, which is what it is, right? and not be with humanity and with our people and ourselves and everybody around us and our communities and give them what we know?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
service are we doing? Who are we serving there? Who are we
This is
serving there?
right. No, we have to be involved. And that's why we're both putting ourselves out there day after day, darling. So
Yes.
people have something else to think about,
Yeah.
and some new idea to float through their mind while they're sitting in traffic or, working at a job they can't stand or whatever they might be doing at the moment, sitting in church bored out of their mind or whatever,
Yeah.
at the 10th funeral this month, whatever's going on in their lives, yeah, I'm 100% with you, and this is why it's so exciting to connect again and singing from the same song sheet. I loved what you were saying about being bisexual. I don't identify that way, but no form of love, no form of humanity is foreign to any human being.
No.
We all have hearts, and we can empathize with each other and care, as you're saying, and you and I do deeply care, my friend. And that's why, we're willing to, take the risks and be the holy fool and, show up and hold a space for each other to sing our song. It's brilliant.
And it can be fun that way. Because I've been in that position where, to be evolving and to be left in that state of apathy, like leave her to it. And that's never helped, because the human heart, it doesn't call for it. It's not natural to the human heart to separate itself from anything, and
Right.
what's going on right now, like, I don't want to spend too much time focusing on this because I've already said so many other mad stuff, right? But yeah, there's loads of things happening globally, but can we just redirect the focus on the crack and the good things and the potential and the power? Like Joe always says this, focus on what's strong, not on what's wrong. Like, we have keys to something wonderful. Like, to be in this position right now, I never thought it'd be possible for me to be in this place of complete and total acceptance and happiness with myself and have such a key to complete connection here. I never ever thought it'd happen. I want everybody to have that. And it's not
Me
like
too.
Yeah. And we can't just leave it. Like the whole point of getting to this point was so we could create a bridge. And I got shown this bridge, right? That it could be faster for humanity and easier for humanity if we all started to step out due to the changing of the guard, and create a reality that fits. And rejection of the money system is silly at the minute, because what I've been shown is we use the money system for now, then that becomes a collective bank that we'll all share once 3D to 5D has actually occurred. Like, I'm working with individuals at the minute, but that's temporary whilst this transition occurs. It's not up from a place of disrupting or disempowering another. It's simply bringing what needs to come in so they can move on. Like, I say it to everybody. I'm like, if you come to me once and you don't have to come back, then I've done my job. You know what I mean? Like, that's the point. It's meant to be, it's just getting people over the hump. And I'm excited. From what I've seen, like, there is nothing keeping us back from what's available now from this transition, apart from our own fear. And most especially of each other. Like, and it's so silly. It's so silly. Like, and I'm kind of bored of it now, Like, I'm just a bit bored. Like, there's one thing I miss about being in England. Like, I love England, right? But they're very reserved here, Lou, right? And I'm not very reserved, right?
No, it's hard.
Being over here, like, it distresses me. I don't feel like I belong here at all, but I can't leave. I'm trapped at the minute. But there's something about, like, the Irish people and community that I think is really, really important and really exciting, because the expression of love and devotion to our God, creator, the universe, to ourselves, to each other, it all happens by an art form and socializing, right? And I really relate to that. And these schools that I was shown, these educational centres that'll open up around the planet over the next year or whatever amount of time it'll take, they're all kind of like that. It's like just music and dancing and, like, reconnecting with the body, teaching people how to love themselves within and reprogramming, but not from a, like, scary, not in a scary way, just like, right, we're going to help you feel your feelings kind of an attitude, right? And then a lot about like conscious relationship and sacred sexuality. That's what I saw happen in these factions opening all around the planet. As these collapses happen. And if we keep our focus on that, we increase its potential. Like that's how it works. So like in order to get, we can be present for and witness what is happening globally. And I'm all for focusing on human suffering and dealing with the suffering, but it's the emotional material in the human that is the primary thing that we need to pay attention to and serve, right? Because the human is the highest thing. It's the highest quotient, most important, most value, the most valuable element in all of society is the human being, right? And where we have the skills and the knowledge necessary to support the human being now, it doesn't matter whatever the story is around what's happened to them. It doesn't matter, and it never ever has. Like whatever's been going on in the world is nobody's fault, right? And whatever it was is leaving, which is great crack. I can't wait till we get to that point. Like, and honestly, part of my makeup is impatience, and I've learned to love and accept that part of myself. So
yes, I relate to that.
There is an element of me that's a little impatient to see this occurring for everybody, where we can just go, right, the focus is now on the spirit and the soul. That mainstream are waking up. I spoke about this yesterday's video. I have like 78k people and 10,000 per week checking in on one video talking about this awakening happening, and then a further 10,000 and a further 10,000 as I documented my own over the course of the last couple of months. And it's given me a sense of what's happening globally. It is that big. And there will be a massive drive towards us from mainstream over the next month or two. So, you know, getting putting our big boots on and getting on with is sort of important, you know? Like it really is.
I completely agree. Yes, I hear you. I completely agree.
And I do feel urgent, but I feel like there's a reason for that. Like, I mean, it can't be an accident.
Sure. No, we have to be prepared because the times they're changing rapidly, you know, and there needs to be a structure energetically, emotionally, spiritually, you know, for people to find in themselves, you know, and we model that when we shine our light and share our love and are vulnerable and human and passionate and, you know, saying, this is what I know, this is what I believe, you know, it lights the way for others to find their way as well.
Yeah, it does. I love your music, by the way, Lou.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Very much.
I've been checking it out.
I just got a recording contract.
Did you?
Yes, I did. Yes, it's on my page. Yes, thank you. Well, maybe you'll be with the group as well. This has just happened in the last 2 weeks. So yeah, I'm getting supported to record my music and do other things. It's a group called Listening to Smile, but I'll tell you about it when we chat some other time. It's very exciting. Yeah, I mean, this is the example that I'm relating to, my friend. You know, I've been just doing my own thing, and suddenly these opportunities, like your growing numbers and you know, people really responding to you, and your love and your light really, you know, catching fire out there. It's our time to put the energy towards what the kind of lives that we want to create and help others create. So I'm so grateful, so excited.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you. Yeah, man. Wonderful. Brilliant. Well, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, I think I'm done now.
I had that feeling. Yes, like there it is. Fantastic. Well, do you want to put anything out for people to come and work with you?
Yeah. All right then. So I'm on TikTok mostly. It's Wake in the World 369, and it's very informal. Like anything that I get come in, I just post up a video. I've also I've pretty much recorded what was happening to me throughout my own awakening process over the last 5 months, which was ferocious and intense. But I've presented everything in a very lighthearted way, a very accessible way. I'm not teaching, I'm just pointing to what will explain things for people in layman's terms. It was important for me as an autistic in previous times to be able to understand and make sense of what was happening for me. So I'm not putting myself in the role of like a teacher or a prophet or any nonsense like that. It's not like that at all. It's just, right, whatever's coming in and I'm being told to put it out there, then I do, right? And there's no attachment to that. So I'm on TikTok. I do healing work, removing, I call them dodgy squatters. Anything that's stuck to the energetic field that doesn't need to be there anymore, that can be removed. And that's for really extreme circumstances where it's necessary. Also, I've got this thing called a timeline shift, where I get sort of a profile of a person's highest available timeline. And I'll get really specific details about the role they'll be playing as this global transformation happens. Mama Gaia is taking over and has already done, right? So everyone has kind of a certain curriculum to attend to. And the spirit and the soul will be the main teaching and the main function for the planet going forward. And so everyone has something that's designed perfectly for them. And I've been getting really specific details there, and then just little steps that are bodily related, and also kind of things I see inside of the body, ancestral seals, any sort of energetic discordant thing that needs to be removed. It's all very visual and it happens quite quickly. But as I said, the point is you come once and you don't have to come back again, right? So it's just to get people in that space where they need to be. Now, I'm only doing a couple a week. I'm not doing that many. I'm just using what I know I can do, best way I know how, and that's it really. Joe, honestly, I was talking to Joe about this yesterday. There's nothing to be afraid of. Like, honestly, there isn't. Anyone who's going through anything right now and is struggling with anything right now, there's nothing to be afraid of, as hard as that might be to hold on to. Like, you are being carried. You are so loved. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you, and there never has been. And whatever situation you find yourself in, you will find your way through simply by loving yourself the best you can in the moment. Yeah. You cannot make a mistake. Beautiful. And I think that's an important thing to say before I go. It's been so nice to have to be on with you, Lou. We need to do it again.
I'm just so grateful to you, Seanin. Thank you for all your wisdom, your passion, and your shining example. Yeah, I love you. Thank you so much.
You too. Thanks.
All right.
See you later.
Peace and blessing.
Bye.
Okay.
Gotcha.
We'll see you.
Bye.
Bye, hon. Thank you.